Well, let's get the latest news on Donald Trump's guilty verdict with President of the Center of the American Experiment. And from the Powerline blog, John Hinderaker. John, always great to see you. You were sitting up there on the wall on November 2020 when I asked you whether the election had been stolen by the Democrats, and you said, well, if it wasn't stolen, it wasn't for want of trying on the part of the Democrats. Now, is this guilty verdict the greatest election interference ploy yet from the Democrats? What's your take on it, John?
Well, Rowan, it absolutely is. I mean, as a matter of law, this prosecution is a complete joke. I mean, there's many reasons for that. If you want to talk about them, we can, but it was never about the law. And whoever said that this was a prosecution tailored to one man and one man only, Donald Trump, that is exactly correct. No one else has ever been charged with anything like this in New York State or anywhere else. This was a political prosecution, and the whole motive behind it was so that the Democrats and the mainstream press, which is 100% controlled by the Democratic Party in America, can constantly refer to Donald Trump as a convicted felon. That is what they were trying to achieve. Donald Trump, the convicted felon. And however ridiculous the prosecution may have been, they did achieve that goal.
And how did someone like Judge Merchan come to hear this case? And I think he was drawn for every single Trump case in that Manhattan court, wasn't he?
Well, I know there's been an allegation of corruption in the assignment of Judge Merchan to this case. I don't know the facts behind that. Every court has got a system by which they assign cases to a particular judge, and it's been alleged, I don't know whether it's correct or not, that there was some corruption involved in assigning this case to Judge Merchan. But be that as it may, there's no question about the fact that this guy is bitterly hostile to Donald Trump. And he conducted this trial in a way that had one objective only, and that was to secure a conviction.
James.
Two things. I wanted to ask you, first of all, explain to us how the instructions that were given to the jury basically all but, guaranteed that he would be convicted. And I'd love it if you could just use your legal crystal ball and say, what do you think the sentence is going to come down on July 11th for Trump? Is he going to be sentenced to prison and locked up before the convention, or will they do something to try and humiliate him, like, make him do community service, put him out on a road crew cleaning up highways? What do you think?
Well, first of all, the instructions mirrored the trial, right? The instructions reflected this incredibly biased and, frankly, lawless trial that Judge Merchan had conducted. In many ways, one that's been pointed out by a lot of observers is the idea that, to be convicted of this minor bookkeeping error or misrepresentation, it had to be in pursuit of another crime. Well, they never wanted to say, what's the other crime? And at the end of the day, Judge Merchan said, well, you don't even have to agree on what the other crime is. If you think that Trump did something wrong, go ahead and find him guilty. I mean, it was a ridiculous set of jury instructions. But at this point, the real question is, where do we go from here? I think that Judge Merchan, he's got a lot of discretion, first of all, in sentencing. I think he's going to do what he thinks will most benefit the Democratic Party in the 2024 election. That is the whole reason for this prosecution and for this trial. So I'll give you my crystal ball. I don't think he's going to sentence Donald Trump to jail, to prison. I think what he's going to do is put him under house arrest, have him wear an ankle bracelet, make him stay, I assume at Mar-a-Lago, down in Florida. And I think what they're trying to achieve there is to prevent Donald Trump from going out and campaigning, because he is a great campaigner, and Joe Biden is so far gone in senility, he can't do it. He can't go out and campaign. So I think one of their objectives here is to neutralize Trump's ability to campaign. And I'm just guessing, speculating that they might do that by sentencing him to house arrest.
And John, what's the broader picture for the American justice system? Because seriously, people all around the world are looking at this, and it's a kangaroo court, in my opinion. What does this say about the separation of powers, basically, the separation between the justice system and politics?
Well, Rowan, I think it's even deeper than that. I think America is really starting to come apart at the seams. I think we're separating into really two very different countries. And I think people around the United States, let alone around the world, look at this fiasco that they carried out in New York under color of law. And I think people ask themselves, look, I mean, under the Constitution, we have to give full faith and credit to the judgments handed down in other states. But what if those states are completely corrupt? What if they're motivated by politics, not by the law? What are we going to do? I mean, I think we have crossed a line here that's never been crossed before in American history.
John Hinderaker, depressing news, but I fear that you are 100% correct. Thanks so much for coming on Outsiders, and we'll speak again soon.